If you've ever dreamed of owning your own SaaS company, I'm going to be showing you exactly my step-by-step process to go from zero to a functional, live, profitable SaaS company using GoHighLevel and a couple of different tools. Everything in this video can be done completely for free to get started, and this is my personal process that I've done over and over to serve the people in my local community and grow my businesses using GoHighLevel. And don't worry, if you don't have a SaaS plan already, I'm going to be showing you step-by-step the entire process so you know what you're getting yourself into before you sign up for GoHighLevel. And if it works for you, then you can sign up and you can watch this video and follow along in order to get your SaaS company set up alongside me. So I hope you're ready to start and run your no-code SaaS. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, if you already have the SaaS plan, then your GoHighLevel is going to look something like this. You'll have the SaaS configurator, everything like that. If you don't know what we're talking about when it comes to the SaaS plan and GoHighLevel, GoHighLevel has 3 plans. They have a starter plan, a middle plan, which lets you have lots of different accounts, and then the top plan, the SaaS Pro plan, which the biggest benefit to the SaaS Pro plan is it allows you to have automatic sub-account creation. So whenever somebody signs up for your SaaS, it'll automatically make a sub-account in your agency. But you can easily sign up or upgrade on GoHighLevel's site in order to start your SaaS Pro plan. And you do get a 14-day free trial. So if you are not ready to commit $500 a month in order to start the SaaS Pro plan, you can just start the trial, see if it's going to work for you. And after 14 days, if you don't want to keep going, then you can just cancel. Now, once you do have the SaaS Pro trial, or if you're already on the SaaS Pro plan, then you're going to be dropped into GoHighLevel. It's going to look something like this. This is my agency, so I already have a couple of small things set up, but I'm going to walk you through each one right now. And the first thing that I do with any new agency is branding. You need to make sure first that you have your white label domain. This is going to be my demo one called Linkific. This is my own SaaS that I use to sell to people in my local community. So if you are brand new, you probably don't have this set up already. In order to do this, go to settings on the agency view, then go to company. You can fill out some of these basic details and stuff on this page. Then you're going to go to white label. And then this is where we're going to do our things like setting up our logo, our domain, and everything else. So let's go this step by step. If you don't have a logo already, you can use ChatGPT or other AI tools online in order to generate one. That's what I did for my agency. I'm creating a calendar app for XYZ niche, right? So let's say real estate agents, and say you need a logo. My best tips are always say 1x1, minimalist, and white background. That'll just make it easy to remove the background and use it as a transparent PNG in the future. So while ChatGPT is working on this, if you already have a domain and a logo, obviously you can just upload those here. We're going to go ahead and upload mine. And then let's see if ChatGPT is done with our logo. Boom, there it is. So let's say we're making a calendar app for real estate agents. We can use this logo just like that. You can download it and upload it right into GoHighLevel. Now, the second step is white labeling your domain. You do have a setup instructions little pop-up bubble here. This will go through all of the different settings that you need to go through in order to set up your white label domain. Tina has a great video going over all this. It's pretty straightforward. All you need to do is first get access to your domain manager. So let's say you already own a domain on GoDaddy or Wix or Squarespace, and just go to your DNS records. Then we're going to add 2 records, one for our white label domain, and we can see this if we click add record, and then we're going to type in our domain. Usually we do app dot and then your domain. So if your domain is yourdomain.com, and then it will give you the record that you need to add. Typically it is just app, and it's a CNAME record that points to the server that GoHighLevel uses to run on all of our systems. So once this gets done, there it is. So CNAME app, and it's going to go to whitelabel.ludicrous.cloud. Once you do that, click verify records and you'll be good to go. And you're going to do the same thing for your API domain. Now, your API domain is the default domain that is going to be used to create links. So we would recommend using the first subdomain as link. That's a great way to do it. Usually spelled L-I-N-K. The Y is because of this brand or whatever. Because this is what's going to have links to like payment links, calendar links, form links, preview links, all this stuff. Whenever you're sharing your links throughout the platform, you want to use something like that. So I would just do something like link.yourdomain.com and then go through the same steps. Now, once you do that, make sure you are logging in to your white label domain, not to app.gohighlevel.com. This will cause some issues if you keep logging into GoHighLevel. It will give you access, but you need to start getting in the habit of just going to your domain. So once you've got that set up, you might think, great, we've got a logo, we've got a domain, we're doing well so far. The next thing that we're going to set up is our branding. Now, this currently looks like HighLevel. That's the biggest problem that we have whenever we're creating a SaaS. And if you're just going to sell this as a duplicate of HighLevel, I wouldn't personally recommend that because A, people can get the exact same service from HighLevel. B, it's not going to make it really clear to your customers what you do and who you're actually servicing. And C, why not just brand your agency and make it look cool? I've seen tons of successful SaaSes out there that don't do this step, but why not make it your own? It's going to help a lot with your branding and your advertising in the future. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now, if you opted in to get this video, you will have access to SaaS Suite. This is the platform that I use to set up all of my SaaS settings whenever I'm creating a brand new SaaS from scratch. So we have a few different steps here. And since we're going to do branding first, we're going to hop over to the branding tool. This is going to give us the ability to change some colors and such in our agency. Now, if we want to be really simple here, we can just select our brand color on our branding tool here. Let's say we're going to do blue. And then we can click generate CSS code. This is a section of code that you don't ever have to really look at. You just need to generate it and paste it into your agency. Or we can go through advanced mode. So just for fun, I'm gonna go through advanced mode. Since we have a blue color for this, I'm gonna select that blue. I'm not really worrying about how picky I'm gonna be, but that's pretty close. And then we have our sidebar background color. This color is going to be the background here that is currently gray. So we wanna change this to, whatever we want it to be. So let's say we want it to be a really, really dark blue. Let's do that. So that way it's more on brand. Boom, just like that. Then we can select our font family, and then we're going to turn on dark mode. Since our sidebar background color is dark, we want to make sure that we have dark mode on. This will change some colors to make sure that they are light. Then we're going to generate our CSS code. Here we've got it. And then we're going to click copy code and follow these steps. All we have to do is add this into our white label custom CSS section, and the steps are here. So in order to do that, we can go to white label and then scroll down to custom CSS, paste our code, and then click save. And now when we refresh, boom, there it is. Our HighLevel agency now looks like our software platform. And that took literally just a couple of seconds. So this is really cool. And it's going to let us actually sell software that looks like our own. And whenever our customers log in, it's going to look like this still. So let's go to a dummy account and look at there. Looks great. People are going to be able to navigate. It's not super clear that it is HighLevel. Again, it's similar, but changing the font, changing the color, it just makes it your own. So this is really exciting. Now we're going to go back to the agency level because we're going to finish setting up a couple of things. And let's go ahead and move on to step 3, onboarding. So onboarding people into your agency can be kind of difficult, especially if you're selling HighLevel as a whole SaaS. Now, what I've seen personally from all the times that I've sold SaaSes on HighLevel and worked with agency clients locally, people usually want all the features of HighLevel, but it's a lot to onboard people into. So I would suggest you've kind of got 2 different ways to go about this. You can either A, give people access to 1 or 2 features and make your SaaS very, very, very small. Or you can give them access to everything as a HighLevel white label tool and just get rid of a couple of features that they're not going to need access to since they're not using it through HighLevel. We're going to go with the second option. So we give people access to everything. And but in order to do this, we need to have a good onboarding process. We need to make sure people actually know what to do in the platform. So a part of SaaSsuite.ai is the white label onboarding tool. This is a guide of 20 plus videos. And these are going to onboard our customers into HighLevel for us. So in order to do this, we're going to first hide our Launchpad. You might ask, why are we doing this? Let's go ahead and go to an agency so I can actually show you in one of our sub accounts. This is our Launchpad that HighLevel currently has default in the platform. And it's good. It gives you a couple of steps, but it's not very clear. It says to download the mobile app, connect your Google business profile, do this, do that. And mostly it's just connections. And typically, this doesn't really track users' progress into actually using the platform. It doesn't really walk them through how to use it. It just tells them to connect things, and then it throws them off to do whatever they want to do. We like to replace this Launchpad with an onboarding tool, and that is what we see here. Now, I already have this set up. The steps are on SaaS Suite to go through it to set this up, but this is a much better, much clearer process that allows you to click start onboarding and then go through the onboarding process. Now, this is custom for each one of your customers, so they will be able to see their progress as they go through the onboarding series, and it will save with their email whenever they log in. And each one of these videos has a little watch video section. And then it is a long video that walks them through how to use the software. Now, these are freaking awesome. This is my pride and joy. Yes, I made these videos. You will hear my voice. And click add field in the top right hand side. Obviously, that's me. And I love these videos because they are white label. They don't mention any branding besides the platform being white. That is the only thing that's going to be different in it versus your actual platform. And they walk them through every single step to get started, such as creating contacts, importing contacts, making funnels, starting to communicate with people through email, SMS, launching campaigns, automations, sales, conversation, websites, everything that they really need to know in order to get started with the platform, they can do through this video series. And it's super easy because it's right at the top of the agency. And in order to install it, we can go through SaaS Suite's guide. We need to hide the launchpad as we were doing earlier. So let's get back to that. Back in settings and company. Again, this is a little piece of CSS. We can just scroll down to our style sheet and just paste that launchpad hider. That's going to do hider launchpad for us. So that way we are replacing it. And then there is a section of JavaScript. Really, all we need to do in this section is create a custom menu link pointing towards yoursoftwareonboarding.com. Do not share this link with anybody outside of your agency because this is exclusively for people that have opted in for this training. They can use this link. You create that as a menu link, and then you use this code here. You can copy the code, paste it as custom JavaScript, and then it will automatically find the onboarding tool that you just added into the platform, and then it will scoot it to the top of the list. So whenever somebody logs in, then they will be able to see it right there at the top. So that is now their onboarding guide right within your agency. So this is perfect. This means that as soon as someone gets dropped into the platform, they'll see this right at the top of their account. They can get onboarded into the software. And if you want to delete specific videos from this section, or maybe you're not doing a website agency or a commerce agency, you don't want to show them specific parts of the onboarding, just shoot me a message and we'll work together and I can get you a version that doesn't have whatever videos you don't want in there. But for default, this has 5 different content sections, and this will walk them through everything that they need to know in order to get onboarded into your agency. So you don't have to worry about any of it. Just tell them to log in, click around, go to the onboarding screen, and then they can get set up and they'll be good to go. Now that we have that done, the last thing is streamlining features for the SaaS. So remember I said you can remove features or keep just 1 or 2 parts of it if you'd like. It depends on what you're trying to build. Obviously, everyone's gonna make a different type of SaaS. But let's say we're gonna go along the line of the calendar app, right? And we can go through here, the streamline feature section. We selected describe your SaaS. You have 2 options. You can either remove menu links manually. Again, we're doing this because in high level, this is way too many menu links for most people if you're gonna be just giving a very hyper-specific SaaS. So let's say we are doing that. Let's say we're doing a calendar app. Then this is going to give us a piece of code. Again, this is a piece of CSS. So whenever we're hearing CSS, we can just go back to that agency view, go to the company white label section, and then paste this in our style sheet here. So what that's going to do, and I'll show you this now, if we log into one of our accounts, that is going to remove a lot of the menu links that we don't need. So all these extra ones, you don't worry about these. These are just extra apps that I've installed. But basically, this turns it into now exclusively a calendar app that they can use to get set up on. So this makes things a lot easier for you if you're trying to make something really, really specific. But for us, we are just going to go ahead and use it as it is. And you can play around with that tool a little bit if you would like. So let's go ahead and remove that section. We have our onboarding set up. It's branded, it's linked. Now we need to sell this. So how are we going to get this out to people? How are we going to get people's accounts made? What does that process look like? So first thing we're going to do is log into our agency account. This is our agency account here. If you don't know what your agency account is, this is just the account that you're going to be managing your business from, essentially. When we go to the agency view, so the view not inside of a sub account, we'll go to our SaaS configurator. This is where HighLevel wants you to create SaaS plans and where they want you to get sale links. The thing is with using the SaaS configurator, when you get these sale links that it gives you direct Stripe links that go to this product. So it generates a product in Stripe, and then whenever somebody purchases here, then it will create their sub account. So if you want to do a really simple, like here's the link, sign up, you can get started immediately with something like that. That is a really easy way to do it. And for this video, we might do that, we might not, I'll decide later. But what we want to do is we want to, instead of configuring a plan here, we want to go to advanced settings, go through a couple of these settings and make sure that they are the way you want them to be. So suspend sub account when SaaS subscription fails, I usually turn that on. Allow sub account admins to upgrade their subscription. And then our welcome email here, this is really crucial. You want to make sure that you have a welcome email set up. This will be a default email that HighLevel gives you. I would recommend drop in your logo and leave it as is, right? You don't have to do anything crazy, but if you want to, you can make it more branded to look like your agency using this email editor here. Then we'll go to security doesn't really matter, configure. Here is where it's going to matter. We need to add our agency sub account here. So let's click add new. This is our source sub account. This is where we are going to create SaaS products and manage our subscriptions from, because we do all of our invoicing and emails and everything in one sub account. So select your sub account from the list here. Again, this is your agency sub account. This is the one you're going to be managing everything from. So this is our Linkific account. And then make sure you have that created there. Now, once we have our agency sub account created, we're going to log in to that sub account. Here we have our view. This is for the dark mode. This is what it does. It looks really cool. And then what we're going to do is create a product. Now, we need to create our products as SaaS products. So we can do this by going to payments, then products, and then we can create a product here. Now, once we do that, we'll toggle this on as a SaaS product. This means that whenever somebody purchases this, it will make a sub account for them automatically using the SaaS plan. Let's give it the SaaS dummy product title. You can add some descriptions. That doesn't really matter right now. What really does matter if you scroll down is the SaaS section. So first you can select a category. If you don't have a category, this part doesn't really matter. We're just going to do a basic one plan type of SaaS, not one where they need to create multiple accounts or they can like upgrade or anything like that. You can turn on usage limits if you want. So if you want to have this plan, they only have access to 5 users. That works well if you're going to have multiple plans, but typically if you just have one plan, just leave it as unlimited. This works well if you're trying to have like 3 plans and you want to have the bottom one have 1 or 2 users, the middle one have 5, and the next one have unlimited or something like that. Then features, this is the most important part. So if you already removed a lot of the features that you don't want people to have access to, for example, that calendar example, and the way that they will only get access to the calendar section of HighLevel, then you don't really need to worry about this. If you have everything turned on and you want to adjust what they get access to, then this is where you can do it. You can turn on different parts in order for them to use. Or if you're just going to do a one plan, just turn everything on and then they'll get access to everything as HighLevel. You can also attach a snapshot. We're not really going to worry about that for now, but if you want to have bonuses for people or pre-made funnels, pre-made forms and stuff, then you can do that too. And there's lots of videos about how to do that on my YouTube channel. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you're running a free trial, because this is going to mean a lot of people can sign up for free trials. You will pay for credits and then they won't use them. But this is good if you have a lot of people coming in and people are going to sign up. And then rebilling, make sure you have all the rebilling settings on. Rebilling is really cool if you are going to be signing up people that are going to be using the features a lot. So phone systems, for example, if you're making like an SMS app, you can turn up the markup to anywhere from 1 to 10x. I wouldn't recommend 10x because it's not super ethical, but you can do anything in between so that way they get rebilled and you can get profits off of those SMS costs. Now, these markups are great because the costs from HighLevel are already really low for phone, email, workflows, all of this. Phone and email is where you're going to get the most. Everything else, it depends on what they're going to be using. If it's going to be a lot of AI, then I would recommend marking these up for sure. So once you got all that configured, you can save your product and then you will see it in your product description or in your product screen as a SaaS plan. So now we have a product, which means we can also make custom payment links just for these. So let's say we want to still go through that payment route, but we don't want to send them to a Stripe link. We can make a payment link through this screen. Whenever they go to pay, then they'll see the product here and they can pay through a custom payment link. That is absolutely an option as well. It's just an alternative to that Stripe link setup. Now, the last step is we need to sell this on a website, obviously. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of the SaaS process because HighLevel's website builder is really simple and really straightforward. So I'm going to walk you through how I would set up a website to sell a SaaS and how you can do it really, really quickly. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Let's talk about websites. You have a lot of different options when it comes to making a website for your SaaS agency. And I'm going to go through all 4 or 5 of them today in this video. So in order to make your website, go to your agency account and then go to sites. And then I would just make it as a funnel. and then you can click New Funnel. Now, here you have your first 3 options. You can either create one from blank using Funnel AI or from templates. There are SaaS templates here specifically. There is a SaaS sales one. If you look up the word SaaS, you'll see there's a SaaS resources and a SaaS leads. These are all good. They're not my favorite. So I would actually create one either from blank or using Funnel AI. Funnel AI is good. It's not my favorite thing in the world. So we're going to start with one from blank. And I'll tell you, this will take very little time because we have one key feature that not a lot of people actually use. So we're going to make our demo SaaS sales funnel from blank, and then we're going to hop into the editor in 1 second. Now, again, I'm going to show you one other option for this after we do this using AI. It will be probably a paid tool, not one of mine, but a really cool tool nonetheless that I just want to show you guys. Okay, so here we are in the SaaS editor. Now, chances are you've probably never made a website before. You've made maybe a couple, and you want to make sure that it's high converting, that it works for your industry, and that it will be good for selling your SaaS, obviously. I would recommend, rather than building one actually from blank, I would go to the pre-built sections area. This part of HighLevel is so cool because there are actually a lot of different sections that will help you build out an entire website in just a couple of seconds. And let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's go ahead and start with a header. So we can find one from either the welcome section. This is probably one of the better ones. There are a couple other ones, but we'll just start with this one. Now, let's say you have a demo video for your SaaS. I'd recommend making one. It's always good. So we can go ahead and use this one here. Just like that, we've got our header for our SaaS. Now let's do the next one. Let's go ahead and do the who sections. We have who's this perfect for. We'll add this in here. Then we'll do guarantees and awards. If we want to do a 30-day money-back guarantee, sure, why not? Add that in there. And then we can add in a couple of different sections like a call to action. For example, here, this is really good. This is perfect for a SaaS sort of demo. And next, we're going to add in our footer to go ahead and call this done. And just like that, we have a website basically already done for our SaaS. So this already looks really good. It's already mobile optimized. It's going to work for your SaaS company. And I just love this part of HighLevel. I don't feel like enough people use this because these sections are already mobile optimized. They already look good. It's clean. It's easy. And chances are you're not going to see another page that looks like this because not many people actually use this. Obviously, you do need to customize the target audience, the main headline, but you don't have to mess with things like padding and fonts and colors and making sure it's all accessible and all those different things. You can simply just add in your logo here, add in your brand here, make a couple of changes, and you'll be good to go. And to prove this, I actually do this with my own SaaS. So we'll pull up my SaaS right now for Linkific, and here it is. It's the exact same templates that we have from HighLevel. A couple of changes. I've added a couple of different bits of CSS to add some animations and such, but it is the same thing. You add in some testimonials and you'll be good to go. The last thing we need is this button here. So this button right here is what sends us to that payment link so that way when people pay, they get added to our SaaS. So all you need to do is go to the link and you have 2 options here. You can either do what I just showed you, which is where you just paste that payment link in the button section. So for the button, you have options on the right-hand side, link to. You just change this to website URL and drop that payment link that we got earlier, that we made either from the Stripe version on the agency level or the one that we made custom in the sub account. We can do that. What I would do instead is I would open a pop-up. So we're going to open up our pop-up and we're going to make a couple of modifications here. The reason I say I would do this is because this is what most other software companies do. This is what HighLevel does. And if it's what HighLevel's doing, it's probably what's working well. And all we need to do here is just add 1 row, add 1 element, and then we'll do order. And we'll do a 2-step order form just like this. We'll turn off some of the things like shipping. We don't need that because we're selling a software product. And just like that, we've got step 1 and step 2 done. We can customize the steps here. That way they don't actually have to leave the website. They can just pay right here. And in order to make this work, after we have saved this, the last thing that we need to do in the site itself is go to products, then click add product, select our demo product, whatever SaaS product we want to use. We'll go ahead and use this one, select your price, and you can do a monthly price just like that. and then click save. And once you've done that, this product is now attached to the website. And whenever somebody goes to the page, obviously you need to add in your own domain and everything like that, but that's pretty straightforward. We'll go through that in a second. Then when they click get access, they fill out this info, and then they can go to step 2, purchase the SaaS just like this, and then it will send them an email whenever it's ready, and they'll be good to go. So this is probably the fastest way to get set up with your SaaS on HighLevel. You can create the website like this. The other option you do have, if you want to be a little bit out of the box, a little bit different, you want to take a little bit longer, is you can use an AI development tool to build your website for you. By doing this, you can still use that order form. You will have to go through a couple of extra steps like trying to embed it, or I would just recommend using the payment link that we talked about earlier. But my favorite tool that you can use is called Lovable.dev. This is an awesome tool that you can use with AI in order to generate websites, apps, things like that. Websites are just the beginning of it, but if we ask it to make a very simple website, so this is a really simple prompt that I created. Just create a website for a calendar app for real estate agents, make it dynamic, add smooth scroll and animations, make it modern, light themed, and have call to actions that go to this link. So in literally just a couple of words, we can send this to Lovable. If you want to set it live, I do believe it costs in order to actually use it, but you honestly won't regret it. I pay for their subscription and it's the best. There's a few other AI tools out there. They're called vibe coders and they create platforms like this. This is really a slept on part of the software space that I think people using HighLevel should utilize more, which is why I'm bringing it up in this video. This is the first video I've ever talked about it before. Again, I'm not affiliated with them at all. I just use them a lot and I love it. But this will use AI in order to make our website. Now we're gonna let this cook for a couple of minutes and then we'll come back. Silly me is realizing now in editing that we forgot to go over the website that Lovable made, but I want to show it to you now because it is absolutely awesome. So as you can see here, this is the prompt that we put in together. And then it goes through all of these different sections. It asks us a couple of questions. It shows us how to connect a database, but here is the website and we can open it up here. And like I was saying, these are really cool and they're really dynamic. They look good. So typically Lovable or other vibe coders out there do a really great job at making very simple landing pages like this. And you can set the whole thing up to tell it where links are supposed to go to, where free trial links are supposed to go to. And as you can see, this one's already set up to go to that payment link that we set up for the SaaS. So you can totally use this integrated with HighLevel really simply by just using that payment link. You can also get an embed code for the order form if you want to do it that way. And the way to do that is really simple. If you just go to sites and then you go to forms or surveys, we can build an order form on HighLevel. And then we can embed this into our Lovable website. So rather than linking off to that payment link in order to get people started with the SaaS, we can embed it here. I think this is a great option for people because you can still build out an app. You can add your own domain whenever you build your app and then click publish and then connect a domain right here through custom domains. So you can set this up in order to look just like a website that you built on your own. And customizing this site is really easy. All you need to do is just ask Lovable to do things. So if you want it to change a headline, change a piece of text, change a link, add the embed code, you just tell it to in this little text box. Just like we told it to create the website, we can tell it to make changes in the same way. And here we are in a empty form. If we just add the element for sell products right here, then we can select a product from here. There's our SaaS product, and then we can click add. And then just like that, we're going to have an order form. We can customize what this looks like with the description and everything. And then if we want to embed this on our Lovable site, we can just click integrate and then copy the embed code here and then tell Lovable to add the embed code, paste it here in this text box and add it to our website. So if you want to build a website with Lovable, again, just go to lovable.dev. I'm not affiliated with them, but they're a great, simple tool to build out websites by just speaking it into existence really. Now that that's done, let's go back to the main video. So anyways, we've got our website done. We have our order form so that way when people place an order, then they can be sent to the order page and then they can actually get access to the SaaS. And then they get access to the onboarding. The last thing that I would recommend is set up a very basic onboarding automation for SMS and email. This is probably a really important step, and I'm gonna show you what we use in order to get you set up. So let's go ahead and just make a brand new workflow from scratch. This is important because this is what's going to help people get started with your platform and actually get logged in and everything. So we're actually going to use Workflow AI. I haven't used this much yet, so we're going to try letting this know what we want. So we made a very simple prompt here that just says, basically make an onboarding flow that sends them a text, an email, and let them know that they can email us if they need help. You can use the beta version of this to start building your automation, or all you can do is just set up a trigger with an order form submission and then an SMS and email and such. And we'll go through what both of those look like in a second. Okay, so this is a pretty simple workflow. It just made this using AI, which is really cool. We're gonna change this trigger and we're gonna add a trigger for order submitted. Do not do order form submission, do order submitted. If you do order form submission, there's a chance that someone could place an order without a valid credit card number, and you don't want that to happen. So you want to do order submitted and just select global product is, and then select that SaaS product that we're using. So just like that, whenever someone places an order, it's going to send them a welcome SMS. You can build this out yourself or use AI if you want. And then also a welcome email as well to get them started in the platform. So this gives them the login instructions. You can replace these with your own login URLs, and you can use AI to build all of this. The last thing I would recommend is adding a voicemail drop. A voicemail drop is probably one of my favorite parts of automations. It's really cool for outbound because you can drop a voicemail into somebody's phone without calling them. So you can send something really personalized by just saying like, hey, welcome to the platform. We're glad to have you here. If you want to do this, I would simply take your phone, record a quick video through voice memos, airdrop it, or send it to your computer, make sure it's an MP3, and then upload it here. This is great because using this, we'll actually upload one that we're using. This will welcome people whenever they sign up for your software and invite them if they need any help getting set up. Remember to send people to that onboarding flow whenever they are actually into the platform. And just like that, we have our onboarding SMS, email, we have a voicemail. Now when they get into the platform, they will have an onboarding system. It's all customized. You have a website. If your website's not live yet and you need help hooking up the domain, all we're gonna do actually is go to settings, then go to domains, and then we're going to connect our domain to GoHighLevel. Or if you don't have a domain already, then just click a purchase, and then you can look up your domain. So if you want to do Cali, app, real estate, doesn't really matter what it is, then you can actually purchase your domain through GoHighLevel just like that, and then connect it to your website. Now, if you do that, all you have to do is go to manage under your domain, click connected products, and then click connect the funnels, click continue once more. And then what this is going to do is it's going to find a funnel and you can select it to connect to your domain. So just like that, you'll go through these sections, add these records, and then you can connect it to your website. And if you want to double check and make sure that it's live and connected, go to sites and then go back to your funnel, and then go to settings and then click your domain from this list. So once it's connected to your domain, you can select one from your list and then click save, and then it will be live for people to go to. And so you'll have this and people can go and they can purchase your product. And that's really the last step to actually set it live. So now that you have a live website, you have an onboarding system for people to get started, you have an onboarding system for people to learn about the platform and reduce churn and keep actually using the products within your SaaS, the last thing we need to do is market it. How are you going to get people to this website? There are so many options that you can do in order to get people to your website. Obviously, you can do things like Google ads, Facebook ads, email, SMS, all sorts of different advertising. What I would recommend to get started is Facebook or Instagram ads. If you already have a brand on Facebook or Instagram or an audience, then you can create a really simple ad and start running it. But the best thing that I would do is get your first users for free. So if you want to offer an extended trial, like a year for free for your first 10 users, then you can make an ad around that in order to get people started with the platform. So let's go through each step that I would go through for marketing a SaaS. Let's dive into all of this. Let's start with Canva. Now, if you don't have a Canva account already, then simply make one online at canva.com. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select Instagram story. And I'll explain this in a second. When we create an Instagram story, this allows us to run a static image ad that goes into our reels. Now, this is important because if we're running ads on Facebook or Instagram, we want them to be where people are spending most of their time, which is in reels. So we can create an ad here. There's really a lot of different things that you could do in order to do this. You can film video ads, just simple ones where you're explaining the software, or you can create a very simple, what I call a 3-line ad. Now, this is an example of a 3-line ad. It's really simple. We don't really have all that much information here, and these are actually pretty high converting in my experience because they're really straightforward and they tell people exactly what you do in the ad itself. And we want to make sure that we have 3 really clear pieces of information in our 3-line ads. Our first line, or our second line, honestly, it just needs to be communicated somewhere, is our audience. Who is our primary avatar that we're trying to call out? For example, let's go with the calendar app for real estate agents demo, the idea that we're making an app just for this. Let's say real estate agents. This immediately calls out who we're trying to target in the very first line of the ad. Second line of the ad gives them a promise or something that is going to be the outcome of our app, our SaaS. Now, whenever we're making this, I would recommend using some variety with our fonts, maybe our colors, our bolding, things like this. But stuff like this typically performs pretty well. And we're going to say, get more appointments. This is essentially our promise that we're offering. And we're going to say, build credibility with Real Cal AI. Then we can have our call to action. For a SaaS, I would typically keep this as 30 days free, 14 days free, or if we're doing that, 10 users for free. Then we will do free, or we'll actually do 1 year free. Sign up below. Something like that. We want to keep it really, really simple in this ad. Now, is this the best ad that you can build for a SaaS agency? Absolutely not. This took literally 3 minutes, but this can get you started. That's the point. We want to have something that can get us started really easily on Facebook, Instagram, wherever we're running ads in order to market for our SaaS. And we could literally create one like this. I would create a light mode and a dark mode, split test them on Facebook, and then you're done. Again, I would highly recommend using this to just get started. There's an entire process that you can go through to film direct to camera videos where you're talking to a camera just like this and telling people the benefits of your software, which would probably perform better than just using static images like this. But my biggest piece of advice is that whenever you are trying to grow a SaaS, if you start off by posting content a bunch or trying to perfect your SEO or doing things that don't have a guarantee of getting eyeballs on your product, then you're doing it wrong. The only thing that matters in marketing is getting eyeballs. It's getting attention onto your product and getting more people to know that you exist. So for me, in my experience, getting started with paid ads is one of the easiest ways to get started and get your brand out there to as many people as possible. Yes, you can absolutely do email marketing, but if you want to do email marketing, you're going to have to warm up your email, which is going to cost a little bit more money. You're going to have to wait a little bit of time for that email to get warmed up. Then you're going to have to find a list and go through a few more different steps in order to market to these people directly. So when it comes to the lowest barrier to entry option for marketing a SaaS, this is it. Now, what I would recommend as an end goal is run advertisements like this, pay an ad manager to take care of everything for you, and then also build out a couple of simple email flows or SMS flows or go to networking events and do whatever. But you want to really have one lead source that you're really relying on the most, and paid ads is one of the simplest ones to get started with in the software space. So back to the technical stuff. Let's say this is our ad and we're going to run with this, and we're going to download this right now. Make sure to download it as a PNG, as 1080 by 1920. And now we have our ad. Again, you can make some modifications to this. I have a couple of different variations where we use some glows and things like that, but these are pretty typical of what we will run for a brand new SaaS company. But again, this is one that we use like for Linkific. It has a promise or a goal. This is really what our goal is for people. Again, don't make outstanding promises that are going to get you in trouble with the SEC. Just say something mostly reasonable. Make sure you're calling out the people that want to see this ad. Obviously, we're targeting out people that don't already have a business using your verbiage. You don't have to say exactly what it's going to be because sometimes you can't say if you're somebody that wants to start a business, that might be too many words. So saying just build a business communicates that. Anyways, so let's hop back over to our HighLevel account and let's go to marketing. And we have a couple of different options here. Again, you can create under the ad manager an ad for this process. You will need to connect to your Facebook or your Instagram. If you don't have a Facebook or Instagram, my best recommendation, create an email through Gmail, create an account on Facebook and Instagram to make your ad account. But we're going to select our ad account, connect a few pages, and then we can get started. Now, using the ad manager through HighLevel is a great option because it is a little bit more simple than Facebook's ad manager. However, it does cost and you won't have as much control over different pieces of your marketing. But for this case, we're just going to select our meta ads here in our ad manager, click create campaign, then go to our start from scratch or ad manager templates. We'll just do a template for now. If you do want to do a template, there are a few different SaaS templates that you can use. But since we already made our ad, we're just going to do start from scratch. Now we can make our ad set. We have a couple of different options. We have lead gen, website traffic, and engagement and sales. If you're going to do a Facebook form, then lead gen works well. Facebook traffic or sales are the ones that I would use personally for this case. Then we can go through our ad set and our ad. This is similar to the Facebook process, but what we're going to do is we're going to add our destination landing page. We will upload our media that we just created for our AI real estate calendar app. We'll select single. We can add a sign up today headline and a description. And there's our ad. It's officially created. We can review and publish this through these steps. Obviously, I'm not going to review or publish this because it's not a real software company, but I think you get the gist. But just like that, we now have a campaign created through GoHighLevel, through Facebook. We can run this online, set a small budget of anywhere from $10 to $100 a day to get started, get your first signups, and of course, just keep optimizing on the process while you're trying to sell this SaaS. There's a lot more that you can do, like making better ads, improving your landing page, but this will get you started. And officially, with what we have here, we now have a Facebook campaign that sends people to our website where they can learn more about our product and they can sign up. And then when they sign up for this and start their trials, they'll get access to your software where they can be onboarded and go through an onboarding process to watch a bunch of different videos to learn how to use your platform. We have an automation to send them a text and an email in order to get them set up and reach out to you if they have any questions. The platform is also branded with your links, your domains, your colors, so you can finally say, congrats, you are now officially a software company. And you can do all of this without even having to pay for GoHighLevel yet, which is so cool. So you can now spend the next 14 days improving your advertising, making better ads, scaling up, improving your website and funnel, and tweaking all the different settings here and there with your onboarding and such. But at this point, you have people coming to your website, you have leads coming in, you can call them, you can book appointments, you can improve different parts of the process however you really want. But most importantly, you're running ads, you're meeting new people, you're getting leads, which means you are officially a working software company. Lastly, let's go over just some best practices and a couple of quick tips and tricks that are going to help you get along with your SaaS company. First, dive into your marketing. Your marketing is probably the most important part of running your SaaS since the entire product is already built. So you really want to make sure that you're optimizing your ads. I would highly recommend talking to a professional, finding an ad manager on a place like Fiverr or Upwork, and learning more about what works in your specific industry. There's a lot of research that you can dive into when it comes to growing software companies. I actually have an entire podcast episode over all of the fastest growing software companies in the past 5 years alone. So I'll go ahead and drop a link to that in the description, so you can get a couple more tips and tricks about how software companies have grown in the past few years. Also, don't get discouraged if one form of marketing isn't working for you. It's going to take a little bit of time to get some traction in your industry. So be sure to be patient with it. Give your ads a couple of months, try out a few different variations, and make it unreasonable that you won't win. Also, if you are a legal business, which you should be whenever you're running a software company like this, you should take advantage of the opportunities that you get as an LLC, S Corp, or C Corp. Now, if you're not a business, that this might not make sense, but if you are, you probably already have a bank account and a credit card. So signing up for loans, credit cards, or different ways that you can get access to funding to grow your business could be a good idea for you when it comes to getting started. No, this is not financial advice, but I did sign up for the Chase Business Inc. card. If you can see that right here, this card from Chase is absolutely awesome because it gives you access to 12 months of 0% APR. You do have to pay the monthly minimums if you have, racked up a balance on it, obviously. But if you are just getting started and you need a couple $1,000s to pour into advertising, that is a great way in order to get some funding and get started. And if you're a legal business, then you'll be approved pretty easily for that. See what the limit is and use that as a marketing budget for your software. What I would not recommend is spending all the money on food or business trips just because you have access to it. Put it into something like marketing that is actually going to give you a return on investment. Next thing I would recommend is run local ads. This is a big part of it that I kind of skimmed over because it takes a lot to go into how to create good, effective ads in the ad manager in GoHighLevel. But whenever you are running your ads, I would run them locally. You have so much competition in the entire world, but you have very little in your local area. So if you are in Dallas, Texas, or San Francisco, or New York, or some little town in Tennessee, you can run ads just to your local city and get access to the couple 100,000 or couple million people that are business owners in that city. Since I skipped over a little bit of this, let me show you how you can do this in HighLevel's Ad Manager. So in the campaign that we were at, if we go to the ad set level, this is where we can control our audiences. So a couple of different things that I would recommend. Let's do those manual placements. Again, I skipped over that a little bit. I would turn the manual placements off for everything except for Facebook and Instagram Reels and Stories. So if you have Instagram Stories, Facebook Stories, turn everything else off so that way you are only showing up in the places where people actually are spending their time. Then we can dive into the budget. I didn't want to go into too much of this because there's a lot of different ways you can go about this, and this UI changes a little bit. So depending on when you're watching this, it might change. That's the first step. Then let's do the geographic controls. So let's say we are in Delaware, then we will just run ads in Delaware. You can also add in your actual city, right? So let's say we're in Bridgeville, Delaware. This reduces our ad into this very small little area. Now you might not think that's good because why would you want to advertise to less people? But this means that your ads can call out those people specifically. So in that ad, when we were calling out real estate agents, call out Bridgeville real estate agents or Delaware real estate agents. That will increase your conversion rates like crazy. And then eventually you can scale up and they'll be fine. Then under our intended audiences, the last part of our ad manager, what I would recommend is under detailed targeting, type in business and then scroll to business Instagram profile admins. And then also just search up admin and you can get Facebook page admins, new page admins, business page admins. And those are really going to be your main ones. So when you add these to your targeting, now you are officially targeting people that are business owners in this area rather than anyone that doesn't have a business page. Obviously, also select your language and your age range. I would recommend skimping out on the 18 to 22 range. Just start at 22 and then go up to all the way to 65 plus. But using this tiny little change in your ads is absolutely huge. This is going to allow you to target just business owners in this area. And if you're calling them out in the ad creative itself, so make sure you're doing that in your advertising. Additionally, if you get really small about it and you're really targeting a very small audience and you're also going in person to these groups like networking groups or chambers of commerce, then people are going to start seeing your ads and recognizing you from your ads, which gives you even more credibility. So even if you don't get conversions from your ads, you'll have a way higher chance of converting people in person. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for our SaaS tutorial. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about setting up your high-level SaaS or marketing or anything in general, feel free to reach out to me or book a call through howtousehigh-level.com/contact. We've been using this system for the past couple of years to go from absolutely nothing to a six-figure agency and SaaS company multiple times with my own family business. I've also done it with my own SaaS. And I want you to be able to do it for your own SaaS company in your local area. So I think this gives you the opportunity to be an absolute powerhouse in your industry and really serve the people around you using HighLevel, giving them access to an amazing software that is just for them in your area, in your industry. As always, hope you found this helpful. This has been Andrew, and thank you for watching.